And it was talking about a trucker case, an employment case. Marc Thiessen is here. He's a fellow at the American Enterprise Institute and a columnist for The Washington Post and a Fox News contributor. You know, Marc, Senator McConnell observed, we saw it a few moments ago, that if a jurist like Gorsuch cannot get bipartisan support, he's raising the question that no one can.
He's absolutely right. I mean, there is absolutely no reason for any senator to vote against Judge Gorsuch. Judge Gorsuch has made clear and shown his record that he will vote impartially and judge impartially. He's shown examples of how he's done that, and there's absolutely nothing on which to hang a no vote. But the Democrats know that he's a conservative judge and that he's not going to come to the outcomes they want. If you look at the questions that the Democrats keep asking him, it's all about outcomes. It's like Senator Feinstein asking him, will you fight for the little guy? It's actually not a judge's job to fight for the little guy. The judge's job is to make sure that the little guy gets equal protection under the law. But if the little guy is wrong on the law, then it's his job to rule against him, as in the case that you just showed that highlight from. So Democrats are all about outcomes. But their goal is to use the law to enact a social justice agenda by coming up with the outcome they want and then finding a legal reasoning to get it. And that's not what judges are supposed to do. Judge Gorsuch has made clear that sometimes you're going to make rulings that you disagree with and have to uphold laws that you disagree with. That's the job of the judge to be impartial. And I don't know how anyone can disagree with that.
You know, he has not been taking the bait so far, despite question after question after question, specifically that Roe versus Wade question, saying if it was brought up in a meeting with the president or one of the members of the administration, he would have walked out of the room.
No, absolutely. And this is again, the difference between liberals and conservatives when they come up. So a liberal judge like Justice Ginsburg came up before the court and was asked about Roe v. Wade, and she said it's an absolute right of women to have the right to abortion. She was confirmed by something like 93-5 or some ridiculous notion. Can you imagine if a conservative judge came before the Senate and said the opposite? That Roe v. Wade was wrongly decided, it would be a nuclear war. So liberals are, because they're outcome based, liberal judges can come out and say what the outcome they want is, and they're fine. But a conservative judge can't do that. So what they have to do is they have to correctly stand back and say, I can't say until a case comes before me. And they have these they have to give cryptic answers. And it's unfortunate because what happens is liberal judges always vote liberally because they're focused on outcomes, and conservative judges, half of the judges that Republicans have put up, have defected to the other side. So it's a harder job to get a conservative judge on the court.
We were just looking at Dianne Feinstein questioning him this morning. I mean, we've heard the questions from the Democrats. What are they going to say when they give their speeches against him?
Oh, they're going to say that he's for corporations and against the little guy, and that he's going to repeal Roe v. Wade, even though he didn't say he would repeal Roe v. Wade. They're going to come up with all sorts of justifications because their view of the court is completely different than that of conservatives. Their view is, what are the outcomes? Let's find a legal reasoning to justify our outcomes. And Judge Gorsuch isn't giving them the answer they want on outcomes, so they're going to oppose him.
And finally, yesterday, he made a point saying a role model is Byron White, who served on the court for so long. Justice White, also from Colorado, the first justice from his own state, Gorsuch's state. The judge is in the appellate court in Denver, which is named after Byron White. He was a clerk for Byron White, and White was appointed to the court in 1962 by JFK, and yet kind of was more of a conservative voice. Do you think he will and could potentially play that role in the upcoming court?
I hope he does. I hope that he's a reliable conservative, because the problem we have is that in the last 3 decades, the Democrats have appointed 4 justices to the Supreme Court, and every single one of them has voted reliably as part of a liberal bloc. Republicans in the last 3 decades have appointed 7 judges, and half of them have gone to the other side, so they're not even batting 500. So, you know, we don't know what we're getting because we're not outcome-based. We don't know what we're getting when we put a judge on the court. The Democrats always do. So I hope that he's a reliable conservative who rules in the tradition of Antonin Scalia, but we're going to have to wait to find out until he's on the court.
Yeah, some wonder if he's going to end up being a suitor, so we'll see. Marc Thiessen, thanks so much for joining us, of course.
Thank you.